Imagine a quiet room on a late afternoon. You are completely in your element, perhaps deeply focused on a creative project, losing yourself in a book, or simply letting your thoughts wander after a long day. Your internal environment is calm, your nervous system is steady, and you are fully in charge of your own time. Then the silence is broken. Your phone starts vibrating violently on the desk, its screen lighting up with a flashing name. You don't feel a sudden rush of excitement or warmth. Instead, your stomach drops, your chest tightens, and a spike of adrenaline hits your bloodstream. You find yourself staring at the glowing device as if it were a live grenade. You wait it out, watching the phone shake, counting down the seconds until it finally gives up and sends the caller to voicemail. The moment the ringing stops, you let out a massive, involuntary sigh of relief. Immediately pull up your messaging app and text, "Hey, just missed your call, what's up?" If you have ever found yourself in this exact scenario, you are far from alone. You aren't antisocial and you aren't necessarily suffering from some deep-seated social phobia. What you are experiencing is a completely rational psychological reaction to one of the most demanding communication mediums ever created. In a world that has largely shifted toward controlled, asynchronous messaging, an unscheduled phone call has become the modern equivalent of a digital home invasion. It is someone kicking open the front door of your mind and demanding your full, unedited, immediate attention without an invitation. To understand why so many of us have grown to despise the ringing phone, we have to look at the hidden psychological mechanics of how we process human interaction. When we speak to someone face to face, our brains are operating like incredibly advanced data processors. We aren't just listening to the literal words being spoken, we are tracking a massive simultaneous stream of nonverbal data. We read facial expressions, watch eye movements, decode posture, and analyze hand gestures. This visual context effortlessly bridges the gaps in language, giving us a clear picture of the other person's emotional state. But the moment you pick up a phone call, that vital data stream is completely erased. You are suddenly flying blind, left with nothing but compressed, low-fidelity audio. Because your brain is naturally wired to seek out context, this lack of information causes your cognitive load to skyrocket. You have to hyper-analyze every single vocal inflection, every tiny shift in pitch, and every sudden intake of breath. A brief pause on the line is no longer just a pause. Your mind instantly races to figure out if it means the caller is thinking, bored, distracted, or quietly angry. It turns a casual conversation into a high-stakes guessing game, which is incredibly draining for anyone who values true clarity. Compounding this sensory blind spot is what can be called the zero buffer trap. When someone sends you a text message or an email, they are offering you the luxury of time. You have the space to read the message, let your initial emotional reaction settle, draft a response, edit it, and remove anything that sounds too defensive or aggressive before hitting send. You maintain complete autonomy over how you present your thoughts. A phone call ruthlessly destroys this buffer, demanding a live, unedited performance. In a voice call, silence is heavy and awkward. If someone asks you a question, you have less than 2 seconds to respond before the interaction feels strained or suspicious. You are forced to think out loud, using the very first words that come to mind, leaving you completely unprotected from saying something foolish or misrepresenting your true feelings. For people who care deeply about intentionality and authenticity, this feels like walking a tightrope without a safety net. There is also an inherent, aggressive assumption baked into the very nature of an unannounced call. The underlying message that whatever you are doing right now is less important than what the caller wants to talk about. A phone call is an absolute dictator. It doesn't sit quietly in your notifications like a text, politely waiting for you to finish your current task. It hijacks your entire screen, overrides your focus, and makes a disruptive noise specifically engineered to trigger your body's alarm bells. If you are in a deep flow state, a ringing phone shatters your momentum instantly. Psychologists know that once your concentration is broken by an interruption, it can take up to 20 minutes to rebuild that same level of deep focus. You hate phone calls because your brain instinctively recognizes them as a thief of your cognitive energy and a direct violation of your mental territory. Even the physical mechanics of a call violate our subconscious boundaries. When you hold a phone to your ear or wear wireless earbuds, someone's voice is being pumped directly into your ear canal. Evolutionarily speaking, a voice that close means a person is standing mere inches from your face. In the physical world, that level of proximity is a zone of profound intimacy, reserved exclusively for romantic partners, close family, or a trusted friend whispering a secret. When a coworker, a salesperson, or an aggressive acquaintance calls you, their voice bypasses all social distances and enters your most sacred personal bubble. Your conscious mind knows they are miles away, but your primitive brain registers a stranger standing inside your personal space, creating a deep, uncomfortable cognitive dissonance. For many, this discomfort has evolved into a learned survival response. Years ago, phone calls were the default for everything: casual catch-ups, jokes, and planning weekends. But as texting and messaging apps took over our casual interactions, the functional purpose of the phone call shifted dramatically. Today, people text to say hello or send a meme. The phone call has been left with a much darker portfolio: emergencies, corporate crises, bad news, and robotic telemarketers. Because of this cultural shift, your body has built a powerful associative network around the ringtone. You have learned that an unexpected call usually means a fire needs to be put out. The sound itself becomes an auditory trigger, initiating a mild fight-or-flight response before you even look at the caller ID. Furthermore, a phone call lacks the professional and strategic safety of a paper trail. When you communicate via text or email, everything is documented in high resolution. You have an exact record of what was promised, what deadlines were set, and what boundaries were established. A phone call, by contrast, is a fluid, low accountability space where memories easily distort. It's a favorite tool for micromanagers and manipulative personalities because it allows them to shift goals or make demands without leaving a shred of evidence. For anyone who values logic and accountability, a phone call feels like a waste of energy because it forces you to do the work twice, once out loud and once in a follow-up email, just to prove the conversation actually happened. Finally, there is the exhaustion of the exit strategy. Ending a text conversation is seamless. You send a quick emoji, say you have to run, or simply stop typing. But leaving a phone call requires navigating a tedious, multi-layered social ritual. You have to wait for a natural break, drop subtle hints that you need to go, and perform a clunky verbal dance of goodbyes. If you happen to be speaking with someone who just wants an audience for their monologue, the call turns you into a hostage. You are trapped in a room with their voice, unable to leave without appearing rude. Ultimately, realizing why you hate phone calls isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self-awareness. It means you understand the immense value of your own time, focus, and mental peace. Your phone is a tool meant to serve your life, not a portal that allows anyone to hijack your attention stack whenever they feel disorganized or lonely. By learning to normalize letting it ring, enforcing a text-first rule with your circle, and answering only when you are genuinely ready, you step out of the role of a passive victim to digital disruption. You become the active editor of your own world, protecting your peace, your boundaries, and your thoughts on your own terms.